And welcome back. An important story now for all electricity customers. In other words, all of us. Arizona started down the path toward becoming a solar state 15 years ago. State regulators put in place standards for renewable energy use by the companies that provide our power. Those standards were hotly debated, and last week, those same regulators killed new rules that would have required electric companies to get all of their power from renewables within about 30 years. Electricity customers could suffer, and critics say so will the state's economy. Chris Mays is a former chair of the Arizona Corporation Commission and was on the commission when the original renewable standards were created in 2006. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thanks, Brent. Good to be here.
So I think it's fair to say you have a lot of pride of ownership in helping to create those original standards. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it was the right thing to do then, but it's now long past time to increase the original 15% renewable energy standard that we passed and the original energy efficiency standard.
And those standards have effectively been met. And with this decision this past week by the Corporation Commission, there will be no standards for renewable use by APS and other utilities. How big a blow is that toward Arizona becoming a truly renewable state?
Well, it was an awful day, Bram. I mean, I sort of liken it to a football team fumbling the ball on the 1 yard line. And that's exactly what the Corporation Commission just did, basically led by their chairman, Leah Marquez Peterson, who, for some reason, decided to water down the rules that they were considering at the last minute and made them goals rather than standards or requirements. And these rules that they had been considering, and in fact that a bipartisan commission late last year had approved initially, would have taken our state, as you said, to 100% clean energy by 2050, and 50% clean energy or decarbonized energy by 2032. This would have been fantastic for the state of Arizona. It would have been a huge victory for our state. And it's a devastating blow to us. It's incomprehensible to me and many other people that the commission just did what it did.
And yet, for the critics of the renewable standards created back in '06, and the criticism lasted quite a while, this returns or appears to return us to a world that they wanted. No regulations at all on renewable use, and the free market can just decide. So what's wrong with that?
Well, what's wrong with that is it's not a free market. We're talking about utilities, and we're talking about entities that have monopoly power, and we don't have a choice about where we get our power. We get our power from APS or Tucson Electric Power Company or SRP. And so you can't just leave it up to those utilities to decide what kind of power they want to produce, because they're gonna choose what's in their best interest, not what's in our best interest when they have that kind of monopoly power. And this is the reason we have an Arizona Corporation Commission, which is to make these kinds of important decisions and to make the decision that is in the best interest of Arizonans. And going to clean energy today is in the best interest of Arizonans across the board. It is by far the cheapest form of electricity available. So for instance, that 100% clean energy requirement that they were considering and just rejected would have saved Arizona ratepayers $2 billion. $2 billion, Bram, over the lifetime of those rules. It would have saved tens of billions of gallons of water. It would have allowed our state to be competitive in terms of attracting new corporations to Arizona. Look, the fact of the matter is that all of our surrounding states have all gone to rules like this. They essentially have gone to 100% clean energy, and we have to compete with those states. Arizona cannot be competitive now based on what Leah Marquez Peterson and these Republican commissioners just did.
And I need to note that folks who get their power from Salt River Project, SRP is not regulated by the Corporation Commission for reasons we're not going to go into because there's a lot of history there. So I'd like to end by talking about, getting back to the electricity customers. How do they lose out in this world? And talk about the efficiency rules. They're not really, very widely discussed, but they're really important.
These are critical rules, and the Corporation Commission, again, led by Leah Marquez Peterson and the Republicans, just rejected an efficiency rule that would have been 1.3% per year over the next decade. Those rules are really important because they lower rates for all consumers. Energy efficiency, which is essentially the energy that we don't use, is the cheapest form of electricity possible, available to our utilities and to our consumers. And so you've got to tell the utilities that they have to do energy efficiency. They have to help people put in energy efficient lighting or help people put in more energy efficient air conditioners. You got to tell the utilities to do that because they don't want to do that. It cuts into their profits, as does rooftop solar. And that's why we actually have to have regulators who will tell the utilities you will do these things because they're in the best interest of all Arizonans.
All right, got to end it there. Chris Mays, thank you so much for joining us.